CETYS Flex 360 academic model, a way to learn and continue with the new normal. Designed to operate in any scenario, focused on student development, where the faculty plans, designs learning strategies, implements various forms of evaluation, and is a permanent companion to his students, under the support of information technologies, communication, and learning resources that promotes comprehensive training by adding co-curricular activities, and it also integrates the distinctive elements that characterize us. CETYS Flex 360 academic model. Let's move forward together.
Good morning. Welcome to this panel, Higher Education in Transition, CETYS Flex 360 model. My name is Francisco Vélez Torres. I am the Dean of the College of Business and Administration, and I will moderate this panel. We are delighted to have three panelists. Let me introduce to you Dr. Mónica López Sieben, Dean of the CETYS Graduate School of Business.
Good morning, everyone.
Also here with us is Dr. Jorge Sosa López, Dean of the College of Engineering.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here. Good morning.
And finally, we appreciate the participation of Dr. Dipp Núnez, Dean of CETYS Mexicali campus.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to be here.
To begin this panel, I will make some initial comments on CETYS and its evolution over the last few months. Then I will go over some of the questions that we consider are the right ones to ask at this moment in order to have an understanding of CETYS' course of action during these times of change. Towards the end of the panel, we will take questions from the public. Please send over your questions through the chat function. Try to answer as many as we can. CETYS University is a private, non-for-profit institution founded in 1961 in Baja California. We have three campuses in Mexicali, Tijuana, and Ensenada. CETYS is a Mexican institution with accreditation in the United States by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. It is one of only 5 institutions in Mexico that hold accreditation in the US. Around 10% of our undergraduate students come from Southern California. A good number of them remain living in the US and cross the border almost daily to study at CETYS. The world pandemic we are facing poses acute challenges for universities in every continent. Quick change and adaptation became indispensable. From the outset of this pandemic, our institution had been scanning the environment, the evolving situation, and evaluating the right timing for potential actions. By mid-March, our president announced a plan for the continuation of academic activities, what we call phase 1. From March to June, we deployed a plan of action to make it possible to deliver 100% of our courses remotely for the remaining of the semester. The phase 2 of the plan is what we call transition. In order to make this work, CETYS has developed the Flex 360 model, which will enable our institution to navigate through the transition, successfully delivering high-quality education to our students. From July through December, we will progressively transition from all remote education to hybrid education, meaning both virtual and classroom delivery simultaneously, until we are finally able to bring everyone into the classroom. We are here today, and I thank all of our distinguished panelists to reflect on the institutional response and talk about the execution of the CETYS Flex 360 model. I would like to begin by asking Mario, what challenges you see today in higher education, in particular related to the COVID pandemic, and how that is having an impact in higher education today in the world and in Mexico?
Okay, thank you, Francisco. Well, they say never let a good crisis go to waste. If you look through history, the biggest concentrations of advances, or when it goes up exponentially, has been through crisis, either wars or something of that nature. Of course, at a very high social cost. And it appears that this pandemic is not the exception. We have over 4 million people around the world who have the virus. Hundreds of thousands are dead. We don't know when it's going to end. And but it does pose a challenge and an opportunity at the same time, because for several years these platforms that we're using right now have been available, and they have always presented like a conundrum. Like, are they good for universities? Not good for a university? Is it a better teaching tool? A not so better teaching tool? And we saw the advent several years ago of what was called MOOCs, the massive open online courses. A lot of people were saying that that was going to be the death knell or the end of brick and mortar universities. It turns out that that was not the case, because education is not just a delivery system. It's not just like, I'm going to send you this song through iTunes or whatever, you get it. It's an experience you live through. Same as happened with the movie theaters. When the VHS cassettes, yeah, for the younger people, they don't know what it is, but it used to be cassettes with movies. People said, you know, the movie theaters are going to go under. Why? Because what's the reason of going to a movie theater when you can watch the movies at home? Well, to any movie lover, you'll say, maybe one word, popcorn. But the idea is that it's an experience you live through. Being submerged in the movie theater, everything's dark, everything's quiet. So you're focused on that movie with no interruptions. So I think that's a good example that what happened actually was not one that substituted the other, but one complemented the other, because for a lot of movies, you prefer to watch them big screen, and then you'll watch them at home again. In this case, we saw that these electronic platforms complemented education, because, for instance, I use them myself. I teach here at CETYS University, and I download some of these online courses to learn tidbits, get a new idea of how to explain some certain concept or things like that. Some just for my personal pleasure, reading history or things like that. So I believe that this presents an opportunity for us, because now we're being forced to do it. We have no choice right now. What's going to happen maybe in 1 year? Crossing our fingers that by then this pandemic is well handled. But what's going to happen then? Are we going to keep to this model? Are we going to go back to the other models? Is it going to be a mix of each other? Taking into account that a lot of the people, I think most people watching this are having what's called like screen burnout, in which everything is done in screens right now. It's your iPad, it's your TV, it's your laptop, it's your iPhone. Even for a meeting, for working, for entertainment, your personal space at home suddenly became invaded. It's your workspace and also your study space. So that creates challenges in the mental health side that must be addressed. And I don't think we're there yet. But still, I believe it presents a great opportunity to complement education for people that want the mix. You know, I want some classes at CETYS, some because of the hours, I just can't go to them. There was no problem. We can do the hybrid model, which we're going to talk about in more detail later. But I think, once again, it is a crisis. There are a lot of people suffering from this, a lot of families, a lot of businesses suffering as well, and unemployment skyrocketing. But I think that we should look at the opportunities that this also presents us, and not just see it as, okay, we did it in the meantime, and when this is over, we'll go back to normal. No, there's going to be a new normal. Hope it's a good one.
Thank you, Mario. So in this crisis you have described, and speaking about how we are turning a crisis into an opportunity, would you say that CETYS is rightly prepared?
I think we are. I think that we had like a dry run about 10 years ago when we had the Easter Sunday earthquake here in Mexicali 10 years ago. And overnight, we lost 90% of our classrooms overnight. And it was just over 2 weeks later that all courses were up and running, either through Blackboard or other platforms. Not the best solution, but a solution nonetheless. So it's not to interrupt their studies too much. And so we were, I don't want to say experts, as nobody's an expert at this, but we already had some inkling of what can happen. So being a small school, being a flexible school did allow us the opportunity to actually change fairly quickly into going to these platforms, Zoom classes. We already had Blackboard as a educational platform. We also had already 10% of the courses by all undergraduates had to be online already. And we're also like the timing is good from the point of view that the current generation that's in school right now, the millennials, they're much more used to being in this environment. They have meetings like this. They don't use the phone anymore. There's a phone, what is that? So everything is done like this, chatting, talking. So they're they're comfortable with this environment. But getting back to the question, yes, I think CETYS not fully prepared because we didn't know that it was going to come and we didn't know how it was going to come. But I think we reacted as an institution very well, that we came together with new ideas. We're still adjusting them. 3 is still going forward. Next semester will be the first one that's fully online, because this one, it caught us like half and half. And we're looking for ways to improve that. So yes, I think that we had the most important tool that we had was the right people. We had the right people to come together and make good decisions at the time, and we're learning and changing as we go along.
Thank you, Mario. Now I would like Jorge to add to what Mario has just said, and to add from the perspective of academic life. So Jorge, the question would be, why we say that CETYS is appropriately prepared for these challenges, kind of just adding and complementing Mario's perspective from you as a dean of a college.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Francisco. Well, first of all, what I would say is that the CETYS Flex 360 model, our foundation, our core. And what is our foundation and our core at CETYS? It's our educational model. And so our educational model is centered on our students and the learning experiences that we provide and facilitate for them throughout their learning and growth journey at CETYS. Now, this was true before the pandemic. It was true when the pandemic hit, and we had to react very quickly to ensure the continuity of the semester. And this required a lot of effort that was put into faculty training. So CETYS, part of the Flex 360 model is faculty training, setting up technology to facilitate the transition to remote learning, as well as setting up mechanisms to follow up on student success. And so these foundations stay true for CETYS as a learning organization moving forward. Where we now have a learning curve with shared experiences and accumulated learning that we have been applying to the academic and administrative planning for the next semester and cycle. The key difference now moving forward is that we are now better prepared, and the Flex 360 model incorporates all of these elements into strategies on the academic front that ensure that the learning experience of our students stays true to our academic model, regardless of if these learning experiences might look a bit different than the way they were before. The ways and means might change, but the end result, which is a positive, meaningful, and sustainable learning experience for our students, stays on focus. And again, the basis and foundation of that is that we are centered on the learning of our students, we have faculty that is trained and is prepared for this new normal in education. And we have the processes, infrastructure, systems to support the learning experience and journey of our students. And this is what makes us be prepared for the next cycle. So I think that the Flex 360 model and the way it is set up, and again, based on these elements that I've mentioned, that's what puts us in a good position moving forward.
Thank you, Jorge. It's very important, as you said, that foundations do not change. Actually, our foundations enable us to move forward in the right way and be successful in introducing the type of adjustments and changes we need to introduce at this moment in time. CETYS University has 3 educational levels. As you know, it is high school, undergraduate level, and graduate programs. At every level, the needs, requirements, and deployment of the model may be a little different. Mónica, I would like to ask you, from the perspective of graduate programs, what is your story? How have you turned a problem into an opportunity?
Hi, yes, Francisco, thank you. So I agree with my colleagues before, particularly in the graduate studies at CETYS, we follow a 10-week academic activity period. So we have 4 periods per year, and the confinement or shelter-in-place measures started in March, just between in the first and the second term. So we changed to remote learning just at the beginning of the second term of the graduate studies. Then I want to personally congratulate all the faculty and staff that made all this possible in a matter of few days. I am really, really proud of the commitment on focused engagement of all the graduate studies team. So moving from face-to-face class interaction into remote learning, in the graduate studies, we focus principally in 3 key elements. 1, the quality of the delivery process. 2, the availability of courses with a robust instructional design. And 3rd, and most important, permanent interaction between faculty and students along the whole process through synchronous and asynchronous activities. So we know that COVID-19 is still there. So we took a step further in the actual 3rd term of the year, and we extended the remote delivery mode 1 additional academic period. So here, then we opened the MBA courses proposed in each campus, Mexicali, Tijuana, and Ensenada, to the others campus, allowing the MBA students to enroll in all 3 sites and extending their possibilities of the election. So students really appreciate the opportunity to take courses from an extended academic menu. All of those prepares us to the full implementation of the Flex 360 model in the next term that begins in October, where we are prepared to have students both face-to-face and remote simultaneously across the 3 campuses.
Thank you, Mónica. Interesting to see how this CETYS Flex 360 model gives us actually a lot of flexibility to our students in different cities to take the courses they need and from a wide variety of choices. That's, I think, quite important. And all of you have mentioned the importance of having the right people, because people make things happen. And in particular, you, Mónica, you said that you recognize the commitment of your faculty. And actually, that's one of the elements that distinguishes CETYS University, and in particular, the CETYS Graduate School of Business. So going towards the professor, the role of the educator, I'd like to ask you, Jorge, the following question. A key element, as you know, in education is the role of the professor, whether it is in the classroom or in a virtual environment. Now that we are introducing the Flex 360 model, it is important to ask, what are the common misconceptions these days on the role of professors in the learning experience of the students?
That is a great question, Francisco. And I would start off by saying that there is a huge misconception that distance or online or remote learning is easier for the faculty and for the students because of the fact that there is little to no face-to-face interaction. And this could not be farther from the truth. Now, imagine conducting an orchestra where each and every member, including the conductor, cannot interact in a face-to-face manner. And also each and every member is at home with all the challenges that this presents. The show must not only go on, it must go on seamlessly. And this would require more coordination, planning, and effort. Remote learning is similar. And it actually requires more preparation and training on the part of the faculty. And in this regard, the CETYS Flex 360 model, as I mentioned before, incorporates a series of training modules for the faculty that are flexible and continuous. And actually, the training models incorporate many of the dynamics that the faculty are going to have to experience in their remote learning interactions. And by the way, this training of the faculty has been going on since the pandemic hit and we had to react, and has been ongoing up to this point. So faculty have been continuously prepared and trained on these new models that include preparing faculty for the design and pedagogy of remote learning, which requires actually more detailed planning and structure, precisely because there is no face-to-face interaction. Our faculty are a key element of our educational model. They understand that regardless of the situation, the learning of our students is the most important thing. And our faculty have responded amazingly to the challenge. Actually, both young faculty and older faculty, they have all responded. Remote learning actually also requires focused and personalized follow-up and evaluation. And this requires a lot of preparation, but also a lot of experience. And this is something that our faculty have, and it shows in the way that they approach their courses, their teaching, and the interactions with our students.
Thank you, Jorge. As you said, amazing faculty. By the way, for amazing students. The plan of action to deploy the Flex 360 model includes, as Jorge just mentioned, a very robust faculty training program. And I would like to underscore the fact that beyond the technical aspect in the training programs, we stressed the importance of the role of the professor in the context of our institutional mission to form well-rounded, shall I say, well-rounded individuals to become transformational and socially committed citizens. Now, I'd like to mention that all this institutional commitment to education translates into a model, the Flex 360 model, which then translates into a plan. And the plan itself then translates into specific actions. And those specific actions are the ones where our plans are proven and are proven in its resiliency. As people say, the devil is in the details. So having said all this, I would like to, again, Jorge, ask you a question. And you, as the Dean of the College of Engineering, know very well that many courses need labs, simulation routines, or computer programs. How are you going to make sure students have access to these tools so that appropriate learning is achieved and the right resiliency is proven in our plans?
That's also a great question, Francisco. And this is actually a challenge that we've had to approach and we've had to deal with since the pandemic hit, since last semester. And so practical learning is a very important part of our engineering programs, and the pandemic situation presents great challenges to achieve the learning outcomes that require lab work. We have defined a series of strategies which include, first, as a part of the Flex 360 model, being ready to do on-campus lab work the moment that on-campus activities can be resumed, when the semaphores and the authorities allow this. And this might happen during the semester or afterwards, and may incorporate an intensive activities modality. In the meantime, we are relying on the use of software for simulation and providing means for the students to be able to access this software either remotely through the servers and our computers that we have on campus, or by having this software installed on their computers. Also, we are deploying a strategy for some courses that incorporates the use of special lab kits that will be provided to the student lab work from home. And this is something that we are preparing for next semester. Again, the focus and the commitment that we have is towards our students and their learning experience, and we are doing everything possible so the practical aspects and lab work are covered, and this is part of the CETYS Flex 360 model.
Thank you, Jorge. So as we can see, our institutional commitment to education is translated into specific practical actions in the day-to-day operation, so that students can have the education that they expect and that they deserve. Mario, I'd like to ask you, what would you tell a student, or for that matter, his or her parents? What would you tell a student how his life or her life will be changed? What can a student expect as this new semester unfolds?
Well, obviously, it's going to be very different from what we even imagined just starting the year. They're going to learn new tools, new skills by working in this platform. They're starting to be able to work in groups remotely. So this will make their skill set stronger to go into the future, because once they're working full-time or setting up their own business or their activity of choice once they leave school, they will have, once again, a richer set of tools in their skill set, basically to go forward. Obviously, when we mean, okay, what's going to happen or what do we expect for the campus, if I'm speaking to a student, I would say, okay, it'll be a challenge, which it always was. Our institution has always been challenging students to become the best version of themselves. Now we add on this additional challenge that it has to be at a distance, Flex 360 model. And even then, we're also considering a slate of integration activities, cultural and otherwise, that once again, the challenge is that we're going to do them all online. But still, music programs, theater programs, different activities between students, online gaming. We're looking for alternatives to help students not just focus on the education. Because, for instance, Mónica, as I say, won't let me lie in this case, in which our graduate students, from the point of view of the experience, they're just missing out on the classroom experience. Because usually they're adults, some of them are married, they come to classes in the afternoons and they leave at night, and that's it. But when it comes to our high school students and undergraduates, life on campus matters a lot. There are different activities that we do, just basically the environment, hanging out with our friends, and a lot of the different activities. So we know the face-to-face contact that's so normal and expected just for us human beings will not be there. So what would I tell them? It's going to be a challenging year, but don't look at it as something negative. look at it as something positive, which you're going to learn. Eventually, we still don't know when we're going to return to the classrooms. This is not the way it's going to be forever. I hope so. I'm positive in that sense. But they should expect something interesting. If they keep an open mind, recognize that this is not really a decision. Any university basically said, you know what, I want to try this radical change, immediately see what happens. It's basically the reality that we have now in the entire world. So tell me, you know what, CETYS is still a very good option for you. You're going to become a great, either basically a graduate, either high school, undergraduate or graduate programs. We're going to have a great learning experience, and learn with us, help us learn as well. We need your feedback as well, if we can improve, become better, because we do have feedback from a lot of other academics, other institutions, students as well, the different student bodies, but still, once again, we're not experts at this topic. Nobody is. So tell them it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be an experience, and make the most of it, like it's in everything, because you're young, and basically those years are irreplaceable. They're precious. So accept this challenge and try to learn as much as you can from it.
Thank you, Mario. So it looks like this transition is a challenge in which there is what CETYS is going to do, but also what the student is also going to do is how the student reacts, how the student faces this new reality. That's also very important. So it is a task that is not only CETYS task, but also the students' task and responsibility, and in many instances, their own families as well. So everybody has to make an effort in order to go through this transition successfully. Mónica, you came to CETYS a few years ago from Spain to lead by being the Dean of the CETYS Graduate School of Business. So you know very well the European higher education environment and have colleagues that continuously give you updates on the situation over there. Based on your experience, how would you assess CETYS' response to this pandemic?
Yes, Francisco, thank you. I think universities over the world, not only in the European countries, we consider first the safety, health, and well-being of our communities, and follow directly the recommendation of the sanitary authorities. So first of all, we wanted our students, faculty, and staff to be safe and healthy over the world. In this situation, in my opinion, CETYS responded very quick by redesigning the delivery format in basically 1 week. So we were able to assure academic continuity with the same standards that before, and with a total new way of delivering the programs. What we have learned from European countries is that the contagion curves will, at the end, diminish, and then we will enter into a new normal, slowly, where we have the opportunity to open a balanced and hybrid system that in our case is, in CETYS, is the Flex 360 model that could combine both face-to-face and remote learning simultaneously, while we stay attentive to any change in the environment.
Thank you, Mónica. And I would like to ask a follow-up question. As you just had mentioned, how CETYS is responding to this. So my question would be, given what you just said on our institutional capacity to adapt and serve, what would you tell a company, what would you say to a company's executive that is thinking in supporting their employees with financial aid or scholarships to pursue graduate studies at CETYS?
Yes, we live in turbulent times, and COVID-19 has come to accelerate even more the changes and complexity of this environment. I think the demand will change drastically in numbers and in needs, and that will require deep changes in the definition and value proposition of the companies for the new normal. So to reactivate economically after the pandemic, I think the companies should care and empower more than ever their key personnel to leader the organizational changes they need. So graduate studies strengthen core competencies in design thinking, innovation, strategy, decision taking, and problem solving, among others, that are essential in the recovery and redefinition of the company in the future. So I strongly recommend companies to keep supporting their employees in their graduate studies to strengthen the commitment of their key personnel that surely will be the protagonist in this recovery process to the new normal.
Thank you, Mónica, for your comments. And lastly, I have to say that responding to the current situation requires an orchestrated action. Beyond and in conjunction with the CETYS Flex 360, there is many other action plans that are already in place to guarantee the quality of our educational process. As the Dean of CETYS Campus Mexicali, Mario, please tell us how a campus prepares for an eventual return to normality.
Okay, first of all, the timing. The timing will depend on when the government authorities move forward with what we call the lights, the traffic lights, as we call them. Right now we're in red, then it's orange, then it's yellow, and finally green. And students cannot return to the campus until it's green. So that being said, we already redesigned every single space on campus that has to do with students or people bunching up together, so as to make sure that we're able to maintain the safe distance from that point of view. We're also focusing a lot on training a lot of our faculty on different ways of teaching, while in the classroom, and some students being at a distance at the same time. That's the Flex 360 model. We're also taking sanitization to a new level. I mean, cleaning daily and sometimes more than once a day, the different spaces that are used. And I say spaces because it's not just classrooms. It's the cafeteria, it's the bursar's office, it's the registrar's office, it's even the open spaces. Because if they're bunching together, I mean, that also creates a risk. So how do we manage those dynamics? Here in Mexicali, where those that know us know that the heat is very, very tough during the summer. We have like a central plaza in our high school. We're going to develop a second one so as to help the students like disperse from themselves. We also created a committee that's focusing on potentially, we still haven't decided this one, when more employees are allowed to come back to the university. Testing is going to be antibody testing. It's going to be the PCR testing, the nasal swab, see if everybody's infected. We've strengthened our medical resources. We already had nurses and a doctor on campus full time, and we are strengthening that, not just the staff that's there, but also the way we proceed. We must train a lot of every one of our personnel to be aware of what might happen when it comes that you might see somebody that maybe might have some symptoms. How do you proceed with that? Also, from the mental health point of view, we know a lot of people are right now really stressed, really anxious from, once again, what used to be their work side, their study side, and their work, study, and home, private side is now just one space. So a lot of people are really struggling with that. So how can we help them work through it? And also, as this is standard procedure in CETYS, but try to avoid bullying, because also if somebody knows that a student was infected, even though they're healthy right now, there might be a stigma attached to it. So making sure that doesn't happen. So Monica touched on it. First and foremost, it's safety. Everybody, every student, every faculty member, every person who works at CETYS has to feel safe, not just in their physical integrity, but emotionally as well. We will challenge you academically, but in those two other factors, you want to feel safe. So be able to devote your resources and attention to growing and learning in the classroom and outside as well. Also, we are redesigning some of the different spaces, as I said. Less people are going to be allowed, acrylic dividers to just ensure, you know, the gel dispensers, they were already there since the H1N1 that came several years ago. But now they're going to have the antiviral solution, which is about higher content of alcohol. Also, a lot of training to our people in every single way that we can. Also, teaching-wise, Jorge touched on it, that we're training all our faculty to be better online or distance instructors, because it's a different dynamic. I think all four of us teach courses, and I think the first one or two courses was a struggle because we're used to doing certain dynamics, moving around the classroom or different things, and suddenly, okay, no, you cannot do that. Okay, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Okay, then how do I replace those? What different dynamics can I actually include? What can I do to, once again, adapt the learning so it becomes just as effective, but with this new model? So once again, it's facilities, it's training, it's academic, medical staff, it's the filters, the filters that students and personnel start coming into the campus, a lot of reporting. For instance, a new item that's going to be added to all of us who work here at CETYS is going to be a medical file, 2-year work file as well. There's going to be for 100% of people of us who work here, it's going to be a requirement. We already purchased an online platform to do this, but they're going to start asking everybody, I mean, do an entire run-up. Do you have asthma? Do you have hypertension? Buy everything. Okay, what treatment? Did you get sick? Didn't you get sick? Your family? Just to get a better sense of who's coming here, to have more information, to be able to make better decisions. Once again, to reinforce the safety issue. So it's safety first, as always happens. Safety, learning second, and why not say it, fun third. Find ways to actually have them enjoy themselves, their company or their ability once they start coming back. But a lot of questions has been, when is this going to happen? I don't know. Nobody does, because once again, we depend on these traffic lights, as we call them. But I think it would be fair to say that maybe it won't happen this semester because we're in red right now. You have to go through orange, then yellow, and then green. So what might happen? Because the authorities are the ones that allow us to go back. But it's the university president, Dr. Fernando Lund Garcia, who in the end will tell us, okay, students can come back. And if they can come back, at what rate? All of it one time, slowly build up the student body. We're still going to have to get together and talk about this a lot with the academics, to the my colleagues who are right here, which is the best way to bring him back to campus. So we're hoping that this will be cleared up as soon as possible, but I think we already are aware that it's not going to be quick. So, okay, even though we're still making plans, we still want to make sure that we are ready and that we will become part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Thank you, Mario, for your insights. Up until this point, you have explained what kind of new reality universities are facing all around the world and how CETYS is responding and adapting. The three of you have specifically talked about the implementation, the plan of action that we are deploying right now, and the phase number 2, which we call the transition phase, in which we are currently operating. What we are introducing, as you know, is the CETYS Flex 360 model that will enable our institution to transition from the virtual environment that we live in at this moment into the new normality in which we can be we can all be back to campus at some point. So now, the questions that we have received from the public pretty much align with the questions that you have already been asked. So it's actually time for the final remarks. With all the experience over the last weeks, speaking to different groups of people, we have been asked this set of questions. So we believe that what people expect to know has been already addressed by the three of you. So in the final remarks, I would ask each of you to give us a brief closing message. Please, Jorge, you may want to begin.
Thank you, Francisco. Well, for everybody that's listening and watching us, I'd like to say education is essential now more than ever. This is not the moment to put a pause on your personal development and growth. So education is essential. At CETYS, we have a commitment to the learning experience of our students. We have amazing faculty that are very well prepared and focused on being not only great teachers, but also great facilitators and motivators. And we have a model and a plan, our CETYS Flex 360 model that incorporates all of these elements and more to ensure that our foundation stays true moving forward. And so the world moves forward, and so do we, and so does the learning of our students, which we consider to be essential. Education is essential. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jorge. And Mónica, please give us your closing remarks.
I agree fully with Jorge. It's the same. I think I can resume that the enhancement of higher competencies for the people will be key in the process of recovery and reactivation of the business and social environment. So, and also I think CETYS, and particularly the Graduate School of Business, is prepared to be partner of this process through a safe, robust, and flexible educational model that has like three main elements. Always a high quality of the delivery process, whether it's remotely by technology or face-to-face on campus with strong safety protocols, as Mario said. The second point is continuity and even increase of the academic programs, of the offer of the academic programs, and all of them with a robust instructional design and flexible also in mode of delivery. And I think the key element is the permanent interaction between faculty and students along the whole process. So it's not the remote learning is not something that is only that the students go by their own pace. They are permanently interacting with our faculty. And all this process has been a challenge for us. However, I want at the end to congratulate students, faculty, and staff for all their commitment, engagement, to make all of this a positive and impactful experience.
Thank you, Mónica. Now we're going to hear Mario's brief closing remarks.
Basically, would be to tell people, don't panic. We need level-headed people. We need people to stay calm. This is not the first time this has happened. I mean, it's happened before if you read your history books and all that. And we got that through that as well. So in this case, it would maybe a message to students and parents that we are doing everything that can be done, I believe, to ensure a safe learning environment. Right now, it's part of that safety is stay at home. Okay, part of the safety is staying at home. When we are allowed to come back to campus, we'll make sure and redouble or more our efforts to ensure that that the safety levels and protocols are always applied to actually be part of, once again, part of the solution, not part of the problem in spreading. But once again, Jorge mentioned it. You cannot stop education because of this situation. Some parents considered having their children have a gap semester or gap year. There are a lot of studies that say even a long summer, 2-3 months, creates a lag, and students sometimes lose a lot of the knowledge they gained the previous semester, previous year, just from a long summer. Now imagine what would happen if it's a gap year, as it's called in the US, because if you're going to take a gap year to do some volunteer work or something, that's the learning experience. But if you're going to be a gap year or gap semester in your home, that's probably not the best way to go. You have to keep learning, have to keep growing. Yes, it is a challenge, change, but it is possible. We're evidence that it is possible. Our students are showing evidence that it is possible. So, I mean, keep the faith, keep a positive tone, take care of yourselves, stay safe, stay home, and we're dying to, well, no, that's not the appropriate word. We're really anxious to have you back on campus. The campus was built for you. Yeah, the students, it's heart and soul. When I go to campus right now and I see it without students, I mean, it's like I don't know, like a facility without any purpose. Is that because this was supposed to be full and teeming of students going here, going there, laughing, and buying something in cafeteria, bunching together and talking, and that's not happening right now. So we do live through this experience. Let's learn from it, and we're here. We're here for anything you might need. So once again, keep going forward, keep pressing forward, and we'll be okay.
Thank you, Mario, and thank you, Jorge and Mónica, our three panelists. And on behalf of CETYS University, I thank all of you that are connected right now for your interest in these important educational matters. Have a wonderful week. Thank you so much.
Bye.
CETYS Flex 360 academic model, a way to learn and continue with the new normal. Designed to operate a scenario focused on student development, where the faculty plans, designs learning strategies, implements various forms of evaluation, and is a permanent companion to his students. Under the support of information technologies, communication, and learning resources that promotes comprehensive training by adding co-curricular activities, and it also integrates the distinctive elements that characterize us. CETYS Flex 360 academic model. Let's move forward together.